Good morning. It's Monday, September 30th. I'm Karen Hamstra, and welcome to Title Talk. I have some mainly new novels to tell you about today. Our first one of the day is called Cop Sisters on the March by Amy Stewart. This is a historical fiction book. There are several on this series, these Cop Sisters. And it's now the spring of 1917, and change is in the air. American women have created military training style camps for women who want to serve, and these are called National Service Schools, and they prove irresistible to the Cop sisters who leave their farm in New Jersey to join up. And when they get there, the matron of the camp has an accident, so Constance Cop reluctantly agrees to oversee the camp. And of course, she has to investigate what has happened. And in the Cop Sisters on the March, it says, the women of Camp Chevy Chase face down the skepticism of the War Department, the double standards of a scornful public, and the very real perils of war. Once again, Amy Stewart has brilliantly brought a little-known moment in history to light with her fearless and funny Cop Sisters novels. So if you like historical fiction, you might want to give that a try. Linwood Barclay has a new suspense novel called Elevator Pitch. And it says on the front, when the doors close, he's got you. This book has had pretty good reviews. It's set in New York City, and it's on a Monday morning, and 4 people board an elevator in a Manhattan office tower, and each presses a button for their floor, but the elevator proceeds nonstop to the top, and once there it pauses, and then it plummets to the bottom of the shaft. It appears to be a random accident, but it's found that this is happening all over the city, and on Tuesday it happens again. So clearly it's anything but random, and of course they need to find out who's behind it, etc., etc. And it is recommended on the front cover by Stephen King. So if you like suspense novels, it's for you. Beverly Lewis has a new one in her Amish series called The Timepiece. It says, out of nowhere, a young blue-eyed woman had shown up in her sleek red car at our farmhouse, declaring herself to be Dot's daughter. The shock of it still had my head spinning as I approached the stable door and heard the voice of my youngest brother, Tommy. "We've got us another sister, then?" he asked. 13-year-old Adam shook his head. "Puh! That fancy woman ain't my sister." Calvin, 11, shot back, "But she has a birth certificate and pictures to prove it." "You don't have to remind us. I heard what Dot told us," Adams replied, sounding peeved. "Boys," I stepped inside, making myself clearly visible, the strong, sweet smell of hay hitting my nose. "I doubt such a fancy woman expected to discover she has an Amish father." I looked at my brothers, wishing to ease their confused astonishment, my heart full of love for them. "How do you think Mama feels?" Tommy asked quietly. I shook my head. I can't imagine. The Timepiece by Beverly Lewis. The Last Train to London by Meg Waite Clayton. This is another historical fiction in World War II. A young Jewish boy, 15 years old, Stephen Newman. He's a budding playwright and the son of wealthy and influential Jewish people in Vienna. He catches the last train out of Vienna and makes it to London. And that's the basic plot of it, The Last Train to London. It is recommended by such authors as Karen Joy Fowler, Heather Morris, and Teresa Ann Fowler. So, and this did get really good reviews, The Last Train to London. Kristen Hanna, who's a favorite of many of us, said, an absolutely fascinating, beautifully rendered story of love, loss, and heroism in the dark days leading up to World War II. Here we have one called Ruby and Roland by Faith Sullivan. She also wrote Goodnight, Mr. Woodhouse. This happens in early 20th century Illinois. It's we have categorized it as a romance, but it would also qualify as historical fiction. She is, I think, an only child, a happy child, but one night her parents perish in an accident, and suddenly Ruby finds herself penniless and nearly alone in the world. And she eventually goes to Harvester, which I presume is an Illinois town. She kind of reinvents herself, discovers herself, goes to the library to educate herself. She masters responsibilities on the farm. She falls in love with her married neighbor, Roland. And when Ruby is asked to care for Roland's wife in the wake of tragedy, she is torn between duty and passion, between what has been her lot and what could be. So, Faith Sullivan, Ruby and Roland. Anne Perry has a new book out, and it's a new series. It's called Death in Focus, and it's an Elena Standish novel. It's a mystery. This is an all-new mystery series set in pre-World War II Europe, and it's about an intrepid young photographer. She carries her imperiled lover's final urgent message into the heart of Britain as Hitler ascends to power. So, if you've enjoyed Anne Perry, she is a prolific author, has a lot of series going, and she has started a new one. So, she's the one who wrote the William Monk series. And, you know, if you like those, like historical fiction and mysteries combined into one, you might want to give that a try. Alice Hoffman has a new book. It too has gotten really good reviews. It has no holds on it. She's normally very popular, so if you've enjoyed her previous books, I would say give it a try. It's called The World That We Knew. Both Elizabeth Strout, who is the author of Olive Kitteridge, and Jodi Picoult, who is a tremendously popular author, highly recommend it. It says, at the time when the world changed, Hani Kohn knows that she must send her 12-year-old daughter away to save her from the Nazi regime. She finds her way to a renowned rabbi, but it's his daughter Eddie who offers hope of salvation when she creates a mystical Jewish creature, a rare and unusual golem, who is sworn to protect Hani's daughter Leah. Once Ava is brought to life, she and Leah and Eddie become eternally entwined, their paths fated to cross, their fortunes linked. This book has received great reviews, so I would encourage you to have it placed on hold and read it. You know, just read it. And my last book for the day is a new cookbook. Cook when you can, eat when you want. It's one of these prep once for delicious meals all week, and I think that anybody who is pressed for time would probably benefit from this book. It says it's a one-of-a-kind meal prep cookbook that serves up less expensive, environmentally friendly, and deliciously satisfying alternatives to takeout food and meal kits while eliminating the need for ad hoc food shopping. It lets you shop and cook just once a week to prepare 5 days of hearty meals to come home to. Here are 16 weekly menus organized by season and comprised of 80 recipes. Each menu comes with a customized shopping list and recipes to use up everything in your cart so nothing goes to waste. And you can find that on the new bookshelf at $641.555. And it does have really nice pictures in it so you can see exactly what you're getting into. And there's menu number 1, parts of it. So I hope you have seen something here that will stimulate your reading interest and you'll come down and see us and check out some of these books. Meanwhile, happy reading, and we'll see you next time.